Um, and then there's various, villains that are in it. The Later on in the DC universe, they're going to supposedly introduce the Authority, and one of the members of the Authority is previewed in the uh, Superman movie. You see her in the previews. It's the Engineer is one of the members of the Authority, um, and another from Superman's past, the other comic books, is Ultraman, which I'm not going to go in and spoil exactly the details of Ultraman. If you're a comic book fan, you kind of already know some of what Ultraman is. But Ultraman is also in the movie. And it's interesting because they also do like a pocket universe kind of thing. And it's similar to the boom tube type thing that Darkseid used in a lot of Superman's comic books, transportation, but it goes into like a pocket universe. And if you watch the Peacekeeper series, you know that Peacekeeper's dad, White Dragon, had a pocket universe that he used kind of to store his like Peacekeeper helmets, among other things. But that's not the only show I wanted to talk about. Also, let's see here. Another movie was the Karate Kid Legends. Both of these are available to get on Fandango and Amazon Prime and Apple Plus. You can buy or rent them. Um, and a lot of people have been wondering about the Karate Kid Legends because if you remember, they did the Karate Kid, and there was the three Karate Kid movies with Ralph Macchio, and then there was the next Karate Kid that had Hilary Swank. Then about a decade ago, uh, Jackie Chan did the Karate Kid, but they featured Kung Fu, and that was with Jaden Smith. Um, and then they had the Cobra Kai TV series, which brought back Johnny Lawrence, and they had a whole thing, and they've had for like 5 seasons of that. It's quite a bit. And there was a lot of questions whether they were going to link the movie in any way to the Cobra Kai TV series. And a lot of people claim that they were not going to, but there is actually a post credit scene that does link it a little bit, just real quick. Um, and they do show some scenes from the earlier Karate Kid movies that have been kind of adapted to kind of show some of how they link Karate Kid Legends to the uh, old Karate Kids. They did not bring in Hilary Swank, and they did not bring Jaden Smith in, but Ralph Macchio is recruited by Jackie Chan to train his student in the karate side of Miyagi Do, where he uses the kung fu version of Miyagi Do, and they go back to it's the how Miyagi Do karate started and everything, and that's kind of how they link it. And Jackie Chan recruits Daniel San to be his teacher so that he can learn Miyagi Do karate in order to beat the Five Boroughs tournament in New York. Uh, as you could probably, that's not really a spoiler either. You could figure that out because generally that's what happens: is the main character ends up in some tournament uh, to prove their mettle. Also, Joshua Jackson is in the movie, which I really enjoy. He's a favorite actor of mine. And they do a really good job, I think, of telling the story and linking the karate and the kung fu elements of the Karate Kid. I think it's really worth watching. Unlike Superman, this movie I would give a 9 out of 10. Now, I'm not talking as much because I don't want to do spoilers, and there's not as much background information to go in like Superman. Superman, a lot of it is about the character itself that's got tons of background. Um, really, the Karate Kid has got Daniel LaRusso from the Karate Kid 1, 2, and 3, and Cobra Kai. It's got Jackie Chan's character, um, and then there's a new student to his, and that's what the show revolves around. And Joshua Jackson comes in and stuff, and it's actually pretty interesting. The main thing is his student moves to New York. His mom doesn't want him to fight anymore, not even to train. So he doesn't spar, but he ends up getting backed into a corner, as you always have in these kind of shows. And he ends up having to train to win the borough tournament in New York, which is a rather famous street side tournament in New York City. Now, like I said, I give it a 9 out of 10, and I definitely recommend it, especially as where to purchase Superman right now on Fandango is $29.99 to purchase. To purchase Karate Kid Legends is only $14.99, so half the cost. Both are new movies, but I would say you get a much more value for your dollar with Karate Kid Legends. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about uh, in this is the Institute. Now, for those of you that have MGM Plus, the Institute is a 6-episode series that I don't know if they're going to do a second season or not, but they pretty much round everything off in the first season. That involves a place called the Institute that kidnaps and uses kids with special abilities, basically telekinesis and telepathy, and it trains them up and then uses them for a nefarious purpose. I'm not going to say what the purpose is, but it is based on a Stephen King story, a Stephen King novel that I have not read. One of the few Stephen Kings I've not read, but it's based on a Stephen King called The Institute, I assume, since it doesn't name another book in the credits. And like all modern Stephen King adaptations, Stephen King is an executive producer, so they're doing a much better job than the much, much earlier versions of Stephen King's works. Um, I got MGM Plus just to watch this, and I binge watched it in one day. It is a fantastic series, very thought provoking. The main character is not only gifted with um, uncontrolled TK or telekinesis, but he's also a 14-year-old genius. Those are the kind of characters I love in shows. If you get a chance to watch The Institute, I definitely recommend it. Right now, if you've got Amazon Prime, you can add MGM Plus to it for like 3 months at $1 a month. At least that's what they told me. But I also already had Stars, and the difference between the Stars and the Stars plus MGM Plus was only $1 as well. I just went and added it to my Stars subscription and pay $11 a month instead of 10. But even if just for this series and then cancel afterwards, it's great. And there's a lot of other stuff available on MGM Plus. I'm constantly looking for new series to draw my attention. For those who don't know, I'm disabled, so I'm not able to work. I spend a lot of my time at home, where I go to dialysis and I watch TV at dialysis too on my tablet. And I'm a big nerd. A little bit of the origin of Game Time for those who don't know. Game Time is named after a gaming convention I used to be a part of called the Gaming Arts Media Entertainment Convention, or Expo, and GAME. And so Game Time came out of that. I used to have some co-stars to the show, that were some of my fellow members of the game community, helped us run, especially after our after COVID started. I started Game Time to just keep in contact with some of the people out there that like um, game and such. And Game Time is my Twitch show that kind of honors that. Let's see. Speaking of which, I'll actually go back to me now, and I'm monitoring things. I want to look and see if anybody's said anything in the chat. And to do that, I need to close that screen. Let's see here. Let me refresh it so I can see what's going on. Yeah, okay. And let's see. Make it so the chat is visible. Looks like nobody's actually said anything in chat, but that's okay. Oftentimes my show gets watched more in reruns, and I didn't schedule this broadcast. I just wanted to get something out there. Looks like we're 26 or so minutes in. And I just wanted to talk about a couple of movies I've seen recently, and The Institute. I thought The Institute is really recommended. It's hard to say. Normally, I don't want to do this, but I would give it a 10 out of 10. The Institute is fantastic. It's great writing. Stephen King. I mean, Stephen King does a great job anyway, and it really makes me want to go and read the book now. My eyesight is not great, so I don't read as much anymore. Usually, I use Audible to listen to books, or I use Kindle Unlimited to read books, to borrow and read books on the Kindle Unlimited app. I definitely recommend those apps. This is in no way sponsored by them. In fact, just a quick note, my show is generally sponsored by Extra Life. That means that I take a portion of what I earn, if I earn anything. I haven't earned anything in the last couple of years, but for anything, I get a portion of it, and I donate it to Extra Life, which is part of the Children's Miracle Network. What it is streamers, gamers that get together to help fund Extra Life, and they do things like funding Make a Wish. They fund research into different conditions. They help kids that are in long-term conditions where they're maybe hospitalized and can't be with their families. It got started when a DJ came to interview a kid that was in a cancer ward, and he asked, what he missed, what he wanted. And he wanted to be able to play games and stuff like the kids every day outside and stuff. And he did a kind of like a call out to the people that listened to his show, and people sent in so many different games and video console systems and such that he got a massive amount of board games and card games and puzzles and stuff donated to him to make his life a little bit easier in the hospital and everything. He had games to play when his friends were able to visit and stuff. And this is pre-COVID, of course. It was, several years back, but they've ever since, lots and lots of money is being raised to help. And the thing about Extra Life that makes it different from other quote unquote charities is that none of the money raised is used for the administration of the charity. The charity funds go directly into the funding, and the people that are doing the different Extra Life drives get to choose which hospital network their funds go to, their donations. So they do a campaign, and then you get to choose your local hospital or the hospital that